Reddit's first serial killer was just caught. Let's see this.
When an anonymous Reddit post warning of a potential at large serial killer was published to the community subreddit for his
Possible serial killer in Louisville. So my friend is in the LMPD and he said he overheard detectives from a homicide unit talk about multiple killings of unhoused people near the I-65 interstate. And they were saying how the killer supposedly drew a symbol near the bodies. Can we get more information about this, please? We need to know for sure. Did he draw the Reddit logo on there?
city in Kentucky, most thought the claim was the writings of an unserious internet troll trying to spook locals. Nobody knew it at the time, but this post would contribute to a full on police investigation that would end in a deadly standoff with the killer.
And you're having a shootout with the police?
Yes, ma'am. I am not surrendering. I am going to die.
Damn.
gun, do it now!
Just
2026. This happened this year.
months prior to that case, a mass shooter was on the loose after hitting a prominent university. Police were totally clueless as to his whereabouts. That was until one simple Reddit post blew the case wide open.
The man had also posted on Reddit before going to police, saying he saw the suspect walking in the area.
Today we'll be discussing two harrowing stories that unfolded
Bruh.
very recently,
What
involving
is going
serious
on?
crimes being solved thanks to unsettling Reddit posts.
Hey,
We
that's a hard
begin with
intro.
the Louisville serial killer case. This twisted saga begins December 21st, 2025 on the r/Louisville subreddit. A Reddit user going by DPH Trip Alt would submit a post titled Possible Serial Killer in Louisville. The ominously titled submission contained the following text. So my friend is in Louisville Metro Police Department, and he said that he overheard detectives from the homicide unit talk about multiple killings of unhoused people near the I-65 interstate. And they were
So this guy was just killing homeless people. Like, damn, bro. They're already going through a lot. They're already going through a lot. Unhoused people, I'm assuming that means homeless people. They're already going through a lot, and now this sicko was just going around trying to kill them. Holy shit, man.
saying how the killer supposedly drew a symbol near the bodies. Can we get more information about this, please? We need to know for sure. It seemed this individual had the inside scoop on some sort of on-the-loose spree killer that police were building a case on. Pretty serious stuff, but what was odd about this claim is that nobody in the local area that used this Reddit seemed to have heard any peep about homeless people getting killed at the time. And if it were multiple victims combined with the creepy symbol being found, you'd think that a news report would be out about it if that was really happening. Many Louisville-based residents in the replies doubted the claim, with some outright accusing the poster of trolling or fear-mongering. Some Reddit replies: contact the Coalition of the Homeless, any of the shelters, or the actual police to see if this is true. This is more spreading fear and false information than anything. I also haven't seen anything on the news about homeless being killed. OP is trolling and he's banned in other subs for it. And finally, we end with this comment: lay off the drugs, so tired of seeing fear-mongering posts. It is to note that the drugs that embarrassed Shake314 is accusing OP of taking here, it was Benadryl. DPH Trip Alt, the person who posted this public advisory about the alleged homeless killings, had little post history on Reddit at the time. But what post history they did have seemed to almost always pertain to themselves tripping on Benadryl, which explains their Reddit username. DPH is short for the generic version of Benadryl, diphenhydramine.
Holy shit, did y'all did y'all catch that? Look at this. Wait, look at this. Anybody want a Benadryl partner for fapping? Time for another bro. What the fuck is going on?
Which
Oh, he's gonna
explains
show it
their
right
Reddit
now.
username.
Wanna see what it
DPH
does.
is short for the generic
Benadryl, allergy extra strength. This shit looks like some fucking lotion that I use. It has a similar logo to this. It's like it's for eczema. It uses the same logo type. But yeah, it's antihistamine. Sneezing, itchy, watery eyes, runny nose, actual size 24. Is this not available on the counter? Is this a prescribed thing? Is that why he's trying to? What I'm assuming he's trying to jerk off people to get this. That's what I'm assuming. I don't
Generic
know. I've
version
never
of
heard of Benadryl
Benadryl,
before.
diphenhydramine. So you've got some crackpot guy high off of Benadryl posting to Reddit about a Louisville Zodiac killer of sorts. I mean, is the sky blue? Nothing to see here, right? DPH Tripalt's warning to the public was disregarded as the ramblings of a madman by the subreddit, but doing due diligence, some would forward the post to the local police. The Louisville Metro Police Department was actually made aware of DPH Trip's Reddit post the same day it was submitted, and it seemed the Louisville Redditors had nothing to worry about. Police reviewed this post and disregarded its contents, as well they had no active investigation within their homicide department that resembled anything the Redditor had described. No attacks on the homeless, no killings near interstate.
Yo, if this is the killer, imagine if this is the killer. That would be so stupid to post. It would be stupid to post. Like, what are you doing? I guess this is their whole thing. I guess this is the whole thing with like serial killers. Well, some of them, like, they want to be known. They want their name out there. So he was trying to start up a case on his own.
State 65, no strange symbols, but that was quickly about to change. 4 days later, on Christmas Day 2025 in Louisville, Kentucky, a homeless man was walking down the street near the 2500 block at Crittenden Drive. This area is host to an Interstate 65 overpass and railroad
I-65.
tracks lined with interspersed wooded areas, making it a hotspot for homeless encampments. The man was reportedly headed to such an encampment when he was suddenly ambushed from behind by a shadowy assailant. The homeless man was stabbed during the attack, but would thankfully survive and later contacted the police over the matter after getting to safety.
Oh my
Footage of
gosh,
the
thank
incident
God he
was reportedly
survived.
captured via street surveillance. This recording revealed the attacker was a white male with brown hair wearing
On a
a black
scooter.
jacket, a backpack, and brown pants. The individual fled the scene of the stabbing on an electric scooter. Things only get crazier from here. The very next morning at around 10 a.m., now 5 days after the Reddit post, another far more distressing report would come in. Louisville Metro Police would have another homeless assault case on their hands, but this time, a death was involved. On the morning of the 26th, the body of homeless man Michael Howard was discovered in a wooded area near the aforementioned
Yo, RIP Michael Howard, man. RIP.
2500 block at Crittenden Drive, close to the I-65 overpass and railroad tracks. Michael's body was found covered in a blanket that, when lifted up, revealed Louisville was dealing with no ordinary violent criminal. Michael Howard's corpse was severely mutilated. There were
Oh
numerous
my
lacerations and stab wounds, but the most grotesque finding was that Michael's genitals, along with 8 of his toes, had been cut off. 7 of
Oh my gosh, what kind of sick shit is happening, bro? Like, is it even a copycat, or is he trying to like do some original thing? Like, bro, how do you get to a point where you say, I want to murder multiple people? Then how do you get to a point where somebody else who murders multiple people influences you to saying, oh yeah, I want to murder multiple people and do it exactly as them? Like, what?
these toes were found near his body, while one was curiously missing. And even more disturbingly, strange symbols were carved into the man's body. Now, where else did we hear about homeless people being killed and strange
DPH
symbols
Trip.
being
Oh,
involved? Well, you can look no further than DPH Tripalt's Reddit post for something like that. The only problem is that this Redditor's post came before Michael's murder and the other homeless attack. Now that's very interesting. Was it possible that instead of being a simple fear-mongering internet troll, that DPH Tripalt was something more sinister? In regard to the killings, police were quick to pick up on a pattern. Michael Howard was determined to have been killed in the early morning hours of Christmas Eve. The other homeless guy was stabbed on Christmas Day. Someone appeared to be going on a spree. They were pretty confident from the jump that both attacks were from the same person. At first, officers
especially
had no
like
leads,
in
but that
such
would
quick succession. Especially like when you consider the fact that it happened so quickly. Like this killer is moving stupidly fast. What is it, 4 or 5 days after the first one? The first guy, you know what I'm saying, survived, thank God. And then 5 or 4 days later, he moved on to a second person. That is fast. Like, did you not wait to see what the cops were going to do? Did you not wait to see if certain areas are going to be start being monitored where you are looking or where you're trying to kill homeless people?
Change as the strange nature of the attacks spread around the city's law enforcement communities. Some officers in the department heard of the new murder case and spoke up about issues and calls they had gotten regarding an individual harassing homeless people in the area. An individual often described as being a younger white male wearing tactical or military surplus style
Oh
clothing
my
that often wrote
gosh. Not only is he a serial killer, he harasses homeless people during the day as well. So this person entirely exists to make the homeless go through hell. That's his entire thing. He's a serial killer. He's LARPing as a army or marine, I'm saying individual. He's harassing homeless people during the day, killing them during the night. This is a person who has to hate their life. They have to hate their life. And I'm not, does not even include the killing part because the killing part, I don't know how to explain that part. I'm not even going to dive into that. But for the harassing and pretending to be a military or marine, whatever, this person has to hate their life. They have to feel insignificant and try to use homeless people to feel power.
a scooter. One officer, intrigued by the burgeoning homeless killer case, recalled an incident back in June of 2025 where he responded to investigate a traffic accident and when at the scene had an encounter with an individual who fit the unusual running description of the suspect. Detectives were able to pull body cam footage from that particular traffic incident recalled by the officer, which led to them discovering the name of this, so to speak, person of interest. That individual was 24-year-old Michael Hristov. This guy apparently lived on the 700 block of West Whitney Avenue in Louisville, which was just about 7 miles away from where the grisly murder of Michael Howard took place. Doing a bit more digging, they found other police interactions with this Michael Hristov individual. One recorded interaction on body cam involved Michael himself getting in an electric scooter accident. Guy wearing a bunch of gear on an electric scooter, that sounds awfully familiar, doesn't it? In addition to the circumstantial similarities of the guy attacking homeless people and Hristov, LMPD discovered that federal law enforcement had previously investigated Hristov for making online threats. The nature of which I'm not exactly sure, but the fact that he was looked into before certainly helps their case here. So at this point, Michael seemed like a good person of interest, but looking suspect and being previously investigated
It's not a good
isn't enough
enough.
to get you arrested in the United States. But you can bet it's enough for law enforcement to start tapping your cell phone and pulling small business surveillance footage, creating a detailed map of everywhere you've moved in the city for the last couple of weeks. This is exactly what police did, and what they found was that Michael Hristov had traveled the exact route and visited the same locations that both homeless victims had been attacked on Christmas Eve and Christmas morning. Given recent developments, detectives working on the Hristov case were reminded of the strange Reddit post that they were tipped off to prior to all of this taking place. You know, the one by Reddit user DPH that warned of a person killing homeless people around Interstate 65 and carving symbols. Yeah, the Reddit post that was submitted before anything like that had even happened. Given that essentially the exact crime warned by DPH had actually come to fruition, they thought it wise to subpoena Reddit to potentially get information about the person behind this account. Such a
Wait, they can they can do that shit. They can do that. Where I never. What are they gonna find? Do people use their real information on Reddit? I mean, I guess it could be tied to your email and they can get more from that. You know, I never thought that they could subpoena Reddit. Oh, yo, I'm glad I don't. I'm glad I don't fucking do shit on Reddit, bro. I'm just a consumer. I'm just the person who just views shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't comment, I don't post. Holy shit. I never thought they could subpoena on Reddit. I don't know why. Why did I not think? Because like there's no images, there's no people Well, from my experience, I don't know how other people use Reddit. Like, nobody's trying to be Reddit famous. Nobody's trying to. Wow, I just realized I never thought that they could subpoena Reddit to get more information about you. You learn
Request would be
something new every
granted,
day.
and what police got was the IP address behind the DPH Trip Alt account. And that IP was associated with, you guessed it, the on record home address of Michael Hristov, the Whitney Avenue house. He was living there with his mom. Yep. Barring the possibility that DPH Trip Alt was hacked or the account was made to spoof Michael's IP, it did appear that DPH Trip Alt and Michael were one and the same. I do want to
Or
emphasize
lived in the
that
same house.
investigators have only gone as far as saying that the IP address behind the DPH Reddit post is associated with Michael's home. So it could technically be possible that someone else in the house was DPH Trip Alt, but I find that highly unlikely. The obvious implication from law enforcement is that Michael posted as DPH, and this was a premeditated confession of sorts. But again, the DPH
I don't
Michael
think it was a premeditated confession. If we assume that Michael is behind the Reddit account, I feel like more it was to get the story out there, like trying to be famous. Like I said previously, that some serial killers genuinely try to be famous. They want the attention. They want all of that. That's what I'm assuming. I'm assuming he was trying to basically boost his own serial killer story. If we are assuming that DPH, what alt trip or trip alt, something like that, is Michael, that I then I feel like why he did that, it was trying to boost his own story of becoming a serial killer. That's my theory.
connection is only alleged. The Louisville Metro Police Department had everything they needed at this point to make a real move on Michael. They showed all of their evidence to a judge and were granted a search warrant on his home. On March 7, 2026, while covertly surveilling Hristov's residence, they spotted him leaving his house on his scooter. Now remember, they didn't have an arrest warrant, only one for searching. So what they did was they stopped him and actually confiscated the scooter. They then go inside the house and seize his backpack and some electronic devices. Again, I have to emphasize Michael wasn't arrested on this visit, but investigators were confident that something would turn up in forensic analysis that would give them a full-blown arrest warrant. And boy, would they find some incriminating shit in the coming weeks during their look into his electronics and assets. Firstly, was found that Michael had a fascination with mass shooters and serial killers. He
Of
apparently
course.
posted online about torturing
Of
animals
course.
and had expressed the desire to hunt homeless people. Not looking good, but it gets worse. When searching an iCloud account belonging to Michael, they found a photo of a severed toe that authorities believed was the
Oh my gosh. Not only is this person, let me move forward so y'all don't
final
gotta.
missing one from the scene of Michael Howard's murder. In addition to this,
I didn't want y'all to be staring at a toe. Not only is this person reckless with whatever they're doing, right? Again, we still don't know if he's the killer or not. You know what I'm saying? We still gotta watch the rest of the video. He's reckless with his shit, the way he operates. He is searching and fascinated with homeless people. Bro, like what are we doing, bro? And then the cherry on top, he's in these weird forums talking with other people about this shit, discussing this shit, learning. Like, bro, at what point do you get to that stage? Like, I understand loneliness, man. Like, I truly do. But at what stage do you get to the point where you want to harm other people, to where you want to interact with toxic people on forums? I guess in their eyes, I am talking about the forum part, not the harming people part. I guess interacting with toxic people to them is better than not interacting with people at all. Like they were probably severely lonely and didn't have anybody to talk to. Like, bro, like I don't understand it, man. I don't understand, like, and I understand loneliness. That's the thing I want to say. Like, I understand it, but to the point where you want to interact online with toxic people, nah, that part I don't understand. That part I truly don't understand. And then to the part where you want to harm other people, I don't understand that, bro. I don't.
Material from his backpack was sent off to a lab for DNA trace testing, and analysis revealed that Michael Howard's blood was present on the bag. The evidence was now no longer just circumstantial, it was direct and concrete. Christoph was indicted by a grand jury on May 13, 2026 on charges of murder, abuse of a corpse, and assault in the first degree. Now all officers...
I mean, shit. Guess it was him. I guess it was him. We don't need to, theorize anymore. It was him. Crazy, man.
needed to do was make the arrest. But Michael wasn't going down without a fight. On May 14, 2026, members of the LMPD were staked out at Hristov's residence on Whitney Street. At some point, his mom left the property to run errands and was covertly intercepted by police and taken to safety, informed of what was happening. Then, with the house empty of everyone except for Michael, at 1 p.m., law enforcement deployed their SWAT unit. And almost immediately into the raid, Michael made it clear he knew they were coming. The guy was garbed head to toe in tactical body armor and was armed with a 6 Sauer P320 compact medium.
Where did he get this? Like, can you just buy that shit? Can you just buy it? Like, I understand the gun, but I'm talking about, like, never mind, bro. Like, I forgot, bro. So we in America, bro. I forgot. I forgot. Like, you can just get this shit anyway. I mean, every country can get it to a certain extent, but I feel like some countries are easier than others. And in this example, America is easy. It's too easy.
Handgun, and he had over 150 rounds of ammo at the ready. Body cam footage shows SWAT
150
officers
rounds.
attempting to gain
Oh, 150 rounds. I mean, they come in small boxes if you're buying them one by one, but god damn, bro. Like, how does the mom or the parents not notice? I guess, like, yeah, he has the right to bear arms. That's the thing with these, like, cases where, like, it's especially like in America, you ask yourself, how was this person not aware? Then you have to say, like, oh shit, I forgot we are in America. Like, we are allowed to bear arms. We can have all these things readily available to us and buy it. The conversation is so awkward because you can't say, like, oh yeah, the mom should have the mom should have been concerned about the son owning a gun. But then you have to remember it's America. Once you are, as I assume 18, I've heard stories that you can get a gun earlier, but I'm gonna take 18. Once you're 18, you can go and buy a gun. Isn't it just a small form that you have to sign?
access into the house as Michael barricades himself inside and fires off rounds as they approach. Keep in mind that all of this started with a Reddit post.
Just come on out, man. We'll figure it out. We'll explain it to you, bud. Just come on out. Because we have a...
What do you mean, what are you here for? You know. You must know. You must know. What do you mean? What are you here for? Why should I come out? Bruh, you know what you did.
warrant. You.
Oh my gosh, he just fired a gun.
Shots continue to ring out as SWAT teams send in chemical agents to counter Michael.
Yeah, see where he shot the window?
I just heard the gun cock again. Hey, yeah, send it now.
One of the most bizarre moments from this raid is this scene recorded by a remote-controlled drone that was sent in by the SWAT. The drone records its
Damn. Oh, they fancy like this now? No wonder they tried to ban fucking DJI from from America. Holy shit, they this fancy now that they're just sending drones during these type of situations. I mean, to be honest, I don't really watch like body cam videos and all that shit. I'm not into that type of shit. But I did not know they were this fancy.
own demise. As you'll see, Michael rather skillfully shoots it down from his basement holdout. Eventually, the raid morphs into more of a standoff, with both sides ceasing fire, weighing their options and calculating next moves. During this lull in activity, Michael makes a call to 911 dispatchers and lets police know what would happen if they kept pursuing him.
911 operator Miller, where is your emergency?
Yeah, so I'm being swatted at my residence. My name is Michael Ristov. I'm having a shootout with the SWAT team of your department.
He just said I'm being swatted by the SWAT team. I don't think he knows what swatting means. He probably does actually never mind. I think he does know, but he's using it wrong. He is not being swatted. Swatted is when somebody makes a false call to your residence and say you are a danger to the immediate surrounding community or the family inside your house. That's what swatting is. This is not swatting. You, nigga, you know you killed a person. You attempted to kill the other guy.
I am not surrendering. I am going to die.
What's your name?
Michael Ristov.
And you're having a shootout with the police?
Yes, ma'am. You want old power. The old order is forward. The new order is ready. So the actions of the Christ.
What did he think was gonna happen? If we're being honest, what did he think was gonna happen? I don't think he had any plan at all. Imagine if the SWAT team even faked retreating, right? Going back and saying like, okay, we're gonna leave the area and all that shit. What was he gonna do? Run? Like, bro, he had no plan. He generally had no plan to do all of this shit. He got radicalized, I assume, bro. It could be himself. He could have done it all this himself. Meaning like he could have convinced himself to be to want to kill homeless people. Not like, when I say radicalized, I mean radicalized online and convinced to kill homeless people online. What I'm saying is that he could have done it himself.
Pistol. I am not here to kill SWAT officers. I'm here to shot them.
You're not
I will
here?
not.
Wait, say that again?
I am not shooting at SWAT officers. I am here to be shot by them.
Michael would make good on his
He's not here to be. He's not there to kill the SWAT officers. He wants to be killed by SWAT officers.
promise, as not long after making this call, he goes out to the front doorway of his home and puts a gun to his head. After multiple frantic requests from officers ordering him to drop the weapon, one agent, fearing Michael was about to turn the gun on them, shoots the deranged killer, finally marking an end to this insane confrontation.
Oh my god.
Drop the gun. Do it now.
Yeah, I'm closing my eyes. I'm not watching this.
Shot.
Yeah, I was not gonna watch that kid get shot, bro.
Ambulances arrived and Michael was pronounced dead at the scene. Following his demise, police did a final sweep of the house, finding what has been described as Nazi paraphernalia and tactical gear, but nothing.
Of course, it has to do with them losers, bro. It has to always come back to them. I swear, it all comes back to them.
New of note.
They go on. Once you're on these online forums, bro, it all goes back to them. Racism, all types of isms. There's all types of isms on that Reddit, not Reddit, on those forums. Reddit is a more normal forum, and anything beyond that doesn't have to do with specific forums about like fixing cars, tech, or anything about audio and all that shit. I'm telling you, whole bunch of isms, whole bunch of isms is there.
Was discovered. Michael's mother, Tracy Christoph, would speak out to the media a few days after Michael was killed by the police. She toured media around her now ransacked home and just seemed totally blindsided by the situation.
It just sounds so bad, and it just, and it's not who my son is, and I know it's not. He lived with me.
It seems like Michael kept his strange proclivities quite the secret. While Christoph may be dead, the LMPD's investigation into his activities continues, and for good reason. Allow me to remind you that the DPH Tripalt post to Reddit warning about a serial killer targeting the
Oh, wait. Did he do this before and all those other ones were not found?
homeless was submitted to the Louisville subreddit on December 21st, 2025. Michael's earliest known attack allegedly took place on December 24th,
Did he do this
2025.
before?
The thought by LMPD here is that Michael Christoph may have attacked more than just the two homeless individuals that we know about, and they're actively turning over every stone possible to find out if the man had additional victims that simply haven't been discovered yet. So the case remains very much still active, and the true scale of his sinister activities remains uncertain. Now, of course, the big question that naturally comes about with a killer like Michael is why? Why did he do this? The guy never wrote a manifesto or explicitly stated why he wanted to kill homeless people, but there is a lot you can infer from what is known about his online activities. Michael reportedly frequently researched and idolized mass killers and allegedly had a history of torturing animals. The guy clearly had a fixation with violence, and with a person like him, I really do think it's no deeper than that he wanted to kill people and thought he could get away with it if they were homeless. Oh, and another thing, if Michael Hristov and DPH Trip Alt were actually the same person, it could be inferred that Hristov was something of a drug abuser and frequently would trip on Benadryl. Looking at DPH Trip's Reddit history, it appears the user was driven to psychosis by their frequent Benadryl abuse. Here's a post from him. The guy's brain was totally fried. Quote, "I haven't slept in 3 days because sleep is a government frequency. They put tiny cameras in the snowflakes, then melt them in order to get rid of the evidence. DPH makes you see, you see it's bad at that." Drug-induced psychosis combined with a pre-existing fascination with violence and animal torture, you've got everything in the recipe book to make a killer. And that was the story of the DPH Trip Alt Reddit post and Michael Hristov.
Breaking news in Rhode Island, Brown University says there's been a shooting on campus and a suspect is not in custody.
The previous story involved a disturbing Reddit post and an individual victimizing homeless people. Our next case flips this entire concept on its head. It involves a reportedly homeless Redditor cracking the case of an at-large mass killer, doing so with one alarming and impactful Reddit post. This is the story of how Reddit user Laman Correa helped police find an on-the-run school shooter.
A person police refer to as John had several encounters with the suspect before the Brown attack.
On December 13, 2025, at around 4:10 p.m. at Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island, a masked man dressed in all black snuck into the School of Engineering building. The stranger entered a classroom as students were taking an exam and subsequently pulls out a gun and fires 40 rounds at the defenseless test takers. The shooter swiftly exits the building, hurriedly walking towards the darkly ironically named Hope Street. Altogether, 11 students were shot in this unprovoked show of violence, 2 of which were pronounced dead shortly after the attack. Those students being 18-year-old Mohammed Aziz Amurzakov and 19-year-old Ella Cook. The killer was on the loose and nobody had any idea as to his whereabouts. The entire university began to panic as many believed he was still lurking around and would return for subsequent attacks. Adding to the confusion of the situation, the university would send out text alerts during the crisis containing false information. One alert claimed that the shooter had been apprehended, but this was an incorrect report and a follow-up message had to be sent out affirming that he was still very much at large. It became clear the situation was completely out of control and extremely dangerous. Hundreds of law enforcement officers responded to the shooting, including FBI agents, ATF, Rhode Island State Police, and the local Providence Police as well. But despite all of these eyes and guns, nobody had captured or even spotted the suspect. Checking cameras around the area, law enforcement obtained security footage of what appeared to be the shooter. This grainy piece of footage was the sole piece of visual evidence investigators had at the time of the at-large criminal. Not much to
This is at a university, by the way. This is how terrible their cameras are, bro. All that money we pay, and this is how terrible their cameras are.
go off of, and cops were shit out of luck when it came to getting additional angles. The school had no other visuals of the guy in their cameras, and surrounding the college was all private neighborhoods, thus the area lacked much in terms of video surveillance that police could immediately directly tap into. With the shooter of 11 people still running amok and unaccounted for, law enforcement put out a desperate plea for help to the local community. Police and the mayor of Providence publicly urged nearby residents of the college to check their home doorbell cameras for any signs of suspicious individuals. offering a $50,000 reward for any information that could help them identify or track down the Brown University shooter. The community showed up in a big way, submitting images to law enforcement that helped better visualize the shooter's movements. With the man being identified walking towards the campus, passing people on the streets, there was even footage of him calmly leaving the scene of his crime in the minutes following it. But again, the problem remained. Nobody knew where the hell this guy was now or anything about him other than that he apparently was a mildly overweight dude with a mask wearing black clothing. Pictures and video of the guy walking around wasn't going to cut it. If only there was somebody out there that had picked up something the cameras hadn't. 3 days after the shooting, at around 4:20 p.m., on the Providence, Rhode Island subreddit, Reddit user Tired College Student creates a thread titled FBI Poster Released. It contained a flyer published by the FBI containing a collection of grainy images of the suspect and information about how to contact the agency. The thread was flooded with activity, some grieving victims, others venting anger, and some proposing places to look for the perp. But one submission to this thread stood out more than all the rest. An eyewitness chimed in. It was a comment submitted by Reddit user Lamin Carre, who would later become publicly known simply as John. John claimed they had a strange encounter with the man shown in the FBI flyer in the time shortly before the Brown University attack. Quote, "I'm being dead serious. The police need to look into a gray Nissan with Florida plates, possibly a rental. That was the car he was driving. It was parked in front of the little shack behind the Rhode Island Historical Society on the Cook Street side. I know because he used his key fob to open the car, approached it, and then something prompted him to back away. When he backed away, he relocked the car. I found that so odd, so when he circled the block, I approached the car. That is when I saw the Florida plates. He was parked in the section between the gate of the RIHS and the corner of Cook and George Street." Unquote. So you have this anonymous Redditor claiming they had not only seen the killer around the time of his attack, but is providing new unreleased information. The shooter apparently drove a gray Nissan with Florida plates, an extremely unique detail. John's post immediately gets traction and users of the subreddit start replying, cross-referencing his story with the available video footage of the killer's movements. One poster writes, "I think you're onto something. As he's walking on Benevolent away from Cook and towards Hope, he glances back twice down Cook Street in the direction of where that car would be."
Yo, this is so. I'm sorry, I was so locked into the story that I wanted. I forgot that yo, I'm reacting to this. This is so crazy that shit like this just happens, can just happen, and certain cases, there's nothing like this. There's nothing, there's no Reddit threads, there's no forums discussing it, there's no videos that people can piece together to figure out a suspect's movement. I think when I was watching this, I was like, imagine if this shit was available when so and so was kidnapped, when so and so got shot. Like there are so many unsolved cases that you'll be like, I wish this shit happened. I wish people were able to find surveillance from those crimes and be able to piece it together. That's what I was thinking about. Like, bro, this is crazy.
Parked. He then doubles back towards Cook, stands at the Benevolent and Cook intersection facing George Street, and pretends to look at the RIHS sign where he likely could see his car. To which John would reply, "Thank you, and respectfully, I know I am." There was nothing subtle about the way he retreated from his car, and I'm glad I approached and saw the Florida license plate. I only regret not taking a photo of the license plate. I only had my iPad on me as I had lost my phone on public transportation. Ironically, on that very evening, I was on my way to Verizon to suspend the line for a month as my phone had yet to be turned in. I was making my way back up the hill when I heard the first sirens. Fully confident that what he saw was tangible evidence that could lead to the killer, and encouraged by other Redditors, John would submit his testimony to the FBI. Confirming with the post, quote, "I contacted the FBI."
Hey, shout out
Others
John.
would call the
Shout out
FBI
John.
office as well, providing the tidbit of information: gray Nissan, Florida plates. And here's where things get even crazier in regard to this Redditor. What you have to know is that John's Reddit submission isn't even the only effort that he made in regard to stopping the Brown University shooter. He had made a real-world intervention prior to this on the day of the attack. He sort of vaguely references this in his post, but he did more than what was disclosed. On December 16, 2025, the FBI Tip Command Center officially received notice and reviewed the tip submitted by John and found it significant. And upon reviewing the limited surveillance footage available, investigators did in fact identify a gray Nissan sedan that appeared consistent with the make and model that was described in the Reddit post. And get this, that Redditor who posted about this could purportedly be seen in surveillance footage from that day. Police actually put out an image of this person as they were seeking an interview with them. So John got off Reddit and visited the cops in person. At the police station, he told them a story of a run-in with a suspicious person in the bathroom at the Barris Hawley building at Brown University. He described how a person there was wearing clothes that were, quote, inappropriate and inadequate for the wintry New England weather. So John followed this guy outside, which led to what has been described as a game of cat and mouse that ended with John confronting the suspect, saying, quote, "Why are you harassing me?" unquote. And he said, "Why are you, quote, circling the block?" And the man allegedly replied, "I don't know you from anybody," unquote. Yeah, bro, John sniffed the shooter out before the
John got that third eye. John got that third eye. It's like something ain't right. What's that meme? I know you're the killer, but I just can't prove it. Like he knew, bro knew something was not right about him.
attack had even happened and tried to intervene off bad vibes alone. When wrapping up his interaction with detectives, they showed him unreleased footage that had the gray Nissan in it, and John reportedly replied, quote, "Holy shit, that might be it." He would provide an update to fellow Redditors later on the 17th, elaborating on his meeting with the detectives. The following is all I will say regarding the matter. This evening I spoke to Providence Police, the Rhode Island State Police, and I imagine the FBI were listening in another room. They know who I am. I am not the individual posted in recent rounds of photos. I wish that individual Godspeed, and if they have yet to come forward, I strongly encourage them to do so. All the law enforcement personnel that I interacted with today were extremely professional and worked hard to really put me at ease. Respectfully, I have said all I have to say on the matter to the right people. If any follow-up is needed, the right people know how to reach out to me. Though it is certainly your right to try, any news media attempting to reach out to me will not receive a response. This is a pseudo PSA, and my participation in the comments will be limited to upvoting reasonable takes. Thank you for the time, and let's hope the person of interest is apprehended soon so the authorities can get to the bottom of this. Hopefully you all are able to enjoy the holidays with your family and loved ones, but if you are not, may the following days treat you kindly. It was undeniable that John's witness testimony submitted to Reddit and the detectives was taken very seriously by those trying to solve the crime. But what he didn't realize at the time was that it's mostly thanks to him that police were able to solve this case at all. Thanks to the Redditor's tip, police managed to trace the gray Nissan to a car rental agency in Massachusetts. Their detectives were able to obtain surveillance footage of the suspect.
Wait, did he get the $50,000? Wasn't there a $50,000 reward for information leading to? I'm assuming the information had to be significant, and this seems like significant information. I hope he got it.
Unmasked inside of the rental business. The man's general description matching the previous images that they had from Brown University. They also managed to get their hands on a copy of his car rental agreement, which identified the Brown University shooting suspect as 48-year-old Claudio Manuel Neves Valente, a Portuguese national who had been living in the States for many years at this point.
Why would you suddenly want to do a mass shooting at a school? Why? I wish there could be investigation as to why these things happen, and not just like end the case on, oh yeah, we got him, he's arrested. Like why? Why did he suddenly want to do a mass shooting at a school? Like why?
That person led us to the car, which led us to the name, which led to the photographs of that individual renting the car, which matched the clothing of our shooter here in Providence, that matched the satchel that we see here in Providence.
The identification of the vehicle and further backtracing of his whereabouts also shockingly revealed something else, that Claudio had actually killed someone else after leaving the Brown University shooting scene.
Oh my gosh.
After leaving the scene in his gray Nissan, Claudio traveled to Brookline, Massachusetts and murdered physics professor Nuno F.G. Loureiro.
Bro, why? There has to be something related to this. There has to be a why behind these murders.
The only thing connecting these two individuals is that Claudio and the professor studied with one another back at a college in Portugal in the early 2000s.
What?
The reason for killing the guy almost 25 years later, we have no idea. You might be thinking, oh, maybe Claudio shot up Brown in an effort to kill the professor, and maybe he just got really unlucky and that guy wasn't working on the day of the attack, so he had to go up to Massachusetts and finish the job. Well, that doesn't make any sense because that professor didn't even work at Brown, he worked at MIT. The reason for Claudio targeting Brown University, that still remains something of a mystery. But we're getting ahead of ourselves, so police identified the suspect and were hot on his trail. In the search for Claudio's whereabouts, they found that he had rented a storage unit in Salem, New Hampshire, near the border with Massachusetts. The U.S. Attorney's Office and investigators suspected the man had fled there shortly after the murder of the MIT professor and was there hiding. Police obtained a search warrant for the storage property and made a move. SWAT arrived at the destination expecting some sort of violent standoff, but in almost anticlimactic fashion, they discovered Claudio's body lying next to a storage unit that he had rented. The cause of death, a self-inflicted gunshot wound. An autopsy would purportedly find that Claudio had been dead for almost 2 days, meaning that he had likely murdered the old professor associate of his and then went straight to the storage locker to end his life. On his person, authorities found a satchel containing 2 firearms, but the more interesting items were inside of the storage unit. Within the unit, detectives recovered an electronic device, allegedly containing a series of short videos filmed by Claudio sometime after the shooting. Authorities don't describe these videos as a manifesto, statement, or motive, just more so commentary from the guy about what he did. While we don't have access to these recordings, the videos are described as the man explaining that he had been planning the attack for at least 6 semesters, and he actually intended it to be bigger than it was, saying that he chickened out multiple times. The man also reportedly said that he had no apologies for his actions, quoted as saying, "If you don't like it, tough luck." But the most notable admission in the context of this video is reportedly in the recordings, Claudio actually makes reference to the Redditor who had been suspicious of him prior to the crime. A purported quote from the recording: "I was actually confronted. I never thought it would take them so long to find me." Claudio's reign of terror was over, and while many were grieving the victims of his madness, others were showing gratitude to the Redditor who helped bring some semblance of closure to this case. Law enforcement openly stated that the Redditor would likely be eligible for the $50,000 reward.
I hope so.
It would be logical to think that absolutely that individual would be entitled to that.
I hope so.
A special agent
I hope
for the
he got
case
it.
said. Despite the fanfare surrounding him, John continues to remain anonymous. Reports claim that the Redditor was homeless at the time of his original post. It's also said that he was a 2010 alumni of Brown University and intermittently worked at the school as a janitor. Considering his close ties to the community, apparent financial struggles, and of course the fact that he helped crack the case wide open, Providence locals did what they could to help the guy outside of a potential $50K FBI payout, of course. Owners of a local cafe called Ceremony, which was located just 2 blocks from where the shooting took place, set up a GoFundMe for the Redditor. The funds are intended to support John in the following ways: providing him stable housing, including deposits, rent, and other costs tied to securing a permanent place to live, urgent dental care, taking care of student loan debt, providing everyday essentials, and job readiness costs such as clothing, classes, and training materials. As of today, the GoFundMe has raised $22,340 of the $50,000 goal. On April 6, 2026, an update was posted stating that John had secured an apartment for himself. A silver lining to an otherwise completely tragic story, that was how a purportedly homeless
God he got
Redditor
it, bro.
helped police find an at-large mass killer. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. I tried to
Yo, thank God he got it, because I know a lot of those things can go bad. And it's not like he was looking for it, but I know like they can say like, yeah, nah, that shit's not enough and all that shit. And shout out to his community too for trying to help him. Well, not trying, they did help him. Yo, Shio to yo, and I'm out of here.